Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Thrive Careers podcast. I am your host, Olajmoke Fatiki. And if you're new here, welcome. This is the show where we talk about building careers that actually fits your life and not the other way around. Today's episode is a little different because we are part of Podcasthon 2026. Podcasthon is a global movement where thousands of podcasters from around the world are dedicating an episode to raise awareness for non-for-profits doing meaningful work in our society. So from March 14th to the 20th, we're all using our platforms to shine a light on organizations making a real difference. And I have to tell you, when I was thinking about which organization to feature for this event, the choice was pretty clear for me. I wanted to talk about an organization whose mission aligned deeply with what we do here on the podcast. And that's helping women overcome barriers, building confidence, and creating pathways to economic independence. So today, drum roll, I'm raising awareness for Dress for Success Canada Foundation. And I am so excited. And before you think this is all about just getting a free suit, let me stop you right there. This is so much more than clothing. It's about dignity. It's about community. It's about what happens when someone believes in you during one of your hardest moments in life. So I'm going to walk you through 5 specific ways Dress for Success helps women land jobs. And I'm also going to tell you about the free workshops they have that you can easily access no matter where you are in Canada. So if you're job searching, if you're a newcomer looking for ways to break into the Canadian job market, or if you're going through career transition and you just need support, this episode is for you. Stay tuned. So let me start by telling you what Dress for Success actually is and why their work matters more than ever right now. Dress for Success Canada Foundation is the only national organization in Canada solely focused on preparing women for employment and supporting them beyond the job offer. I want you to listen to that again. The only one. They operate through a network of 13 local affiliates across Canada. So you will find them in places like They operate through a network of 13 local affiliates across Canada. So you will find them in places like Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton, Toronto, Montreal, Halifax, 7 communities from coast to coast. And here's what they believe. Every woman has the power to define her life's potential and the opportunity to overcome barriers to economic independence. In other words, their mission is to empower unemployed and underemployed women and non-binary individuals through no-fee, high-impact pre-employment and job retention programs. And guess what? It's totally free. That means no payment required. So let me give you some context about why this work is very important right now. Women were disproportionately impacted by pandemic-related job loss. Economic recovery for women has been slower and more uneven than for men. And as you can imagine, marginalized communities like newcomers, BIPOC women, those experiencing gender-based violence, single mothers, they often get to face even steeper barriers. So without organizations like Dress for Success, we risk reversing decades of progress on gender equity and workforce inclusion. So when I say this work matters, I mean it in the most urgent possible way. Now, let me give you some numbers because I know that for most of us, we rely heavily on data and numbers don't lie. In 2025 alone, Dress for Success Canada served 9,200 women and non-binary individuals across the country. They provided 7,701 interview and employment sittings. And they had volunteers who donated over 40,000 hours of their precious time. That's nearly 10,000 women who walked through their doors looking for help and received it. And the women they serve, they are newcomers, single mothers, the women who are re-entering the workforce after domestic violence, after homelessness, after burnout. They are women who have been told no so many times that they have started to believe it themselves. But Dress for Success says, see you and we believe in you. So when I said there's an alignment between what the organization does and what we do here on the Thrive Careers podcast, I mean it. Because I know firsthand what it means to feel stuck. I know what it is like to walk a non-linear path, to have survival jobs, to pivot, or to wonder if you're ever going to find your place. And that's why I wanted to dedicate this episode to raising awareness for their incredible work. All right, so now I want to walk you through the 5 specific ways that Dress for Success helps women land jobs. And I want you to listen for the one that resonates most with you, because I'm also going to be telling you how to access these services at the end. Let's start with the most visible part of what they are doing, the clothing part. So when you book an appointment with Dress for Success, you're not walking into a thrift store. You're walking into what they have carefully put together and they call the boutique. And here's what happens when you show up there. You get the opportunity to work one-on-one with a trained volunteer who helps you pick out professional clothing that fits your body type and fits the job you're going for, and honestly, fits who you are. So you're not getting hand-me-downs that don't fit. You're getting quality pieces, blazers, sometimes blouses, pants, dresses, shoes, and matching accessories that makes you feel like the professional that you are or that you're trying to become. And I want to pause a little here because this matters more than most people realize. If you've ever shown up to an interview in clothes that don't fit right, or shoes that hurt, or a blazer that makes you feel like you're wearing someone else's life, you know exactly how that feels. You're already nervous. You're already trying to prove yourself. And now you're distracted by the fact that you don't feel comfortable in what you're wearing. Dress for Success helps to remove that barrier. In 2025, they provided 7,701 students. That's like 7,701 women who got to walk into an interview feeling confident, prepared, and ready. One of the clients, a woman named Vivian, said this: Dress for Success provided me with clothing, skills, and community to help me get my footing and thrive. Clothing, skills, and community, not just one of those things, but all 3 of them. So yes, you get the professional attire, but what you're really getting is the ability to walk into that interview room and focus on showing them who you are and your expertise, not worrying about how you look. And here's even the best part. You don't just get that one outfit. After you land the job, you can come back and get more professional clothing to build your work wardrobe. Isn't that amazing? Because they know that getting the job is just the start. Now, the second way that Dress for Success helps. All right, so now you've got the clothing. What happens next? Now, let's talk about what else they offer. Dress for Success runs comprehensive career support programs, including workshops, coaching sessions, and training that help you with actual skills you need to land a job and to keep the job. So we are talking things like resume help, interview preparations, job search tools and strategies, workplace communications, financial literacy, career coaching, etc. And guess what? These aren't generic workshops. They are tailored to the realities that women face, especially women who are newcomers, women who are re-entering the workforce, women who have been out of job for a while. And one of the things that I love most about their programs is that they understand the barriers. They understand that if you are a newcomer, you might not know how Canadian resumes work. You might not know what professional attire means in this context. And you might not know how to talk about your international experience in a way that resonates with the Canadian employers. So Dress for Success actually meets you right where you are. And they also offer ongoing career coaching services, which means the support doesn't end after you get the job, because they know that keeping a job, navigating workplace dynamics, asking for a raise, or dealing with difficult situations, that's a whole other skill sets. And they don't just give you the information and send you on your way. They give you practice, mock interviews, feedback, and actual space to mess up and try again. Because that's what confidence is all about. Not just knowing what to do, but practicing it until it begins to feel natural. Okay, so here's where Dress for Success really stands out from a lot of other job search programs out there. They don't just help you get the job, they stay with you after you start working. They actually stay with you. A lot of employment programs are transactional. You get the resume help, you get the interview prep, you land the job, and that's it. Good luck, and just hope that it works out. But Dress for Success knows that the first 90 days of a new job can be the hardest because you're learning the culture, you're figuring out the expectations, you're dealing with imposter syndrome sometimes, and you might be the only woman who looks like you in the room. You might also be navigating a language barrier, a new country, a new industry, and Dress for Success says we are still here because they offer ongoing support, they offer peer mentoring, networking events, leadership development programs, and access to a community of women who have been where you are. One of their clients, Mahek, said, the presence of passionate, supportive, and goal-oriented women was instrumental to my success. And the women of Dress for Success Vancouver have become my family in Canada. Did you hear that? Her family. Not just the program she went through, but her family. That is really strong and impactful. And that's what this organization is all about. That thriving in your career isn't just about building skills and clothing. It's about having the right people in your corner who believe in you, especially when you don't believe in yourself yet. I believe this is what separates them from every other program out there. They are in it for the long haul. So moving on, let's talk about something that doesn't get talked about enough, and that is access. You can have access to the best resume in the world, and you can have the perfect interview outfits. You can be qualified, experienced, and even confident, but you can still struggle to get your foot in the door because a lot of hiring happens through networks. And if you don't have a network, you are already at a disadvantage. Again, Dress for Success helps with that. They work with hundreds of social services agencies across Canada, immigration services, job training programs, domestic violence shelters, homelessness programs, just name it. And they also connect with employers who are actively looking to hire diverse talents. So when you go through their programs, you're not just getting individual support. You're also being connected to networks that includes people who understand the value of diversity and inclusion. So essentially, they are not just a job placement agency. They are not going to guarantee you a job, but what they do is open doors to you that might have been closed to you otherwise. And that's significant because sometimes all you need is one person to take a chance on you. One interview, one opportunity. Dress for Success Canada helps create those kind of opportunities. All right, here's the fifth way that they help. And this one is huge because it's accessible to anyone, anywhere in Canada. Dress for Success Foundation runs a free national online workshops throughout the year. Sometimes they are live, sometimes they are expert-led sessions on topics that matters to women building their careers. And the best part is they are completely free. So you don't have to be a client of one of their local affiliates to attend. You just need to sign up, show up, and learn. These workshops cover things like job search strategies, networking skills, personal branding, confidence building, financial awareness, financial wellness. And from time to time, they bring in real great speakers, people who know what they are talking about and who care about helping women succeed. So if you're listening to this right now and you're thinking, I don't live near one of these 13 locations, that's okay. You can still access their workshops online. So you can check their websites for upcoming workshops at dressforsuccesscanadafoundation.org. And honestly, even if you do live near a location, these workshops are a great way to get a sense of what Dress for Success is all about before you book an in-person appointment. All right, so I've told you what Dress for Success does, but I want to share a few stories with you because I know that stories are what makes this real. So let's talk about Katrina. Katrina was born in Ukraine in 2022. She moved to Ottawa where she was faced with serious life problems related to her family. And in a twinkle of an eye, everything changed for Katrina. She left behind the house, her job, her clothes, and her whole life. She said, I know that I can help my son, but I have my life. I'm Katrina, and I need to do something for Katrina, and I will find Katrina in this country. She got referred to Dress for Success Canada, Ottawa, and when she walked into the boutique, she found the community and sense of belonging she had been missing. She said, I feel that I have the power to do things for me, for my life, and to be happy. And here's what I love the most. Katrina had such a positive experience that she joined Dress for Success as a volunteer because she wants to make sure other people have access to the same kind of support that helped her. Our second story is Roshio's story. Roshio immigrated to Canada from Venezuela in 2027. Roshio immigrated to Canada. 2 years later, she was referred to Dress for Success Montreal. She says, the experience with Dress for Success Montreal changed my life completely. I once gave my testimony at a conference, and I went there with the clothes you had given me with great pride and said so in my speech. It was a very moving moment. Roshio is now a single parent with 2 children. She works full-time as a paralegal and is studying at the University of Montreal to get her law degree recognized in Quebec. She says, I will always be grateful to Dress for Success Montreal for the help I received in those difficult moments. When you have just arrived in this country and want to join the job market in your professional field. Our last story, because of time, is the Ngozi story. So Ngozi is an international medical graduate. She wrote this about her experience with Dress for Success, Calgary. She said, as an international medical graduate, I have faced numerous challenges since moving to Canada. However, amidst these trials, I have been fortunate to experience the incredible support provided by Dress for Success Calgary. On 2 separate occasions, Dress for Success Calgary styled me for free. Not only have they equipped me with the tools to dress for success, but they have also instilled in me a sense of self-assurance and resilience. I encourage immigrant women to explore the incredible resource and opportunities provided by Dress for Success. They are dedicated to helping women thrive in all aspects of life and to navigate the path to success. Now, these are just 3 stories out of nearly 9,000 from 2025 alone. And I wanted to share them because I think they show the range of people Dress for Success serves and the real tangible impacts they make. All right, so by now, I'm sure you're probably thinking, okay, this sounds amazing, but how do I actually access these services? And I'm going to walk you through it one after the other. So step 1, you need to find your local affiliate. Dress for Success has 13 locations around Canada. So you'll find them in Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton, Winnipeg, Toronto, Ottawa, Kingston, Montreal, Fredericton, Moncton, Halifax, St. John's, and maybe more to come. So you can go on their website, dressforsuccesscanadafoundation.org, and click Find Your Local Affiliate. You'll be able to see which location is closest to you, and you can get their contact information from there. Now, step number 2 is to get a referral. Now, here's the thing. Dress for Success works through referrals. You just can't work in off the streets. You need to be referred by a partner agency. And that's, of course, for organization's sake. But don't let that stop you because they work with hundreds of agencies across Canada. So think of agencies like employment centers, immigrant settlement services, women's shelter, community organizations, social workers, and counselors. So if you're already working with any kind of support service, ask them if they can refer you to Dress for Success. Chances are they can. And if you're not already connected to an agency, you can also call or email Dress for Success directly and ask them about how you can get a referral in your area. They will be sure to point you in the right direction. Now, step number 3 is book your appointments. So once you have a referral, you book an appointment. You meet with a volunteer in their boutique, talk about what kind of job you're going for, and pick out professional clothing that works for you. And remember, this is free, completely free, high impact support. Step number 4 is to access the workshops. So if you want to sign up for their free national online workshops, you can go to their website and look for upcoming free online workshops. They will have a schedule there and you can register directly. Again, you don't need to be a client to attend any of these sessions. They are open to everyone, everywhere. Now, the last but not the least step is to get involved. So if you're in a place where you want to give back, whether that's through volunteering, donating clothing items, or making a financial contribution, you can do that also. In 2025, volunteers gave over 40,000 hours to this organization. How amazing, right? They run on community support. They rely on people donating gently used professional clothing. So financial support and any kind of support will really go a long way in sustaining their programs. So if this episode resonates with you and you're thinking, I want to help, those are ways you can actually support the work that they do. All right, before we finally wrap up on this special episode, I want to take a minute to talk about why raising awareness for this organization matters to me personally. So when I was thinking about which organization to feature for Podcasthon, I kept coming back to Dress for Success. And it's because their mission is so aligned with what we talk about here on the Thrive Careers podcast. We talk about building careers that fit your life. We talk about navigating career transitions. And we talk about the fact that your career path doesn't have to be a straight line. And Dress for Success embodies all of that. They meet women right where they are. They don't judge. They don't make assumptions. And they don't show up and say, how can we help you? They just show up and say, how can we help you? And I think that's what community is supposed to be. I also want to say this. If you're listening to this episode and you're thinking, I don't need Dress for Success right now, but I know someone who does, make sure you share this episode with them and send them the link to the website. Tell them about the services that are available, because sometimes the hardest part is knowing that help exists. And if you're listening and thinking, I'm not sure if I qualify, or I don't want to take resources away from someone who needs them more, let me stop you right there. If you need help, you deserve help. That's it. That's the whole essence. Dress for Success is there for you. Use it. All right, so let's do a quick recap of everything we've discussed today. So we talked about 5 ways Dress for Success Canada Foundation helps women land jobs. The first is professional attires that restore dignity and confidence. They help with career development programs. They provide supportive network. They help to create connections to employers and agencies who value diversity, and they offer free national online workshops that you can access from everywhere. We also heard real stories from women like Katrina, Rocio, and Ngozi, women whose lives were changed because someone believed in them at the right time. And I also told you how to access these services by finding your local affiliate or by getting a referral and then eventually booking an appointment and signing up for the workshops. Now, before I let you go, I want to tell you what Podcasthon is all about. Podcasthon is not a fundraiser. It's an awareness campaign. The goal is to shine a light on the incredible work that non-for-profits are doing and to remind people that these organizations exist and are here to help. So if this episode resonated with you, here's what I'm asking you to do. 1, visit dressforsuccesscanadafoundation.org and learn more about their work. 2, you or someone you know could benefit from their services. Reach out. Don't wait. 3, if you are in a position to support them, whether that's through volunteering, donating clothing, or making a financial contribution, please consider doing that. They rely on community support to keep their doors open. And 4, make sure to share this episode, post it on LinkedIn, send it to a friend, tag Dress for Success Canada Foundation, and let them know you're listening. Use the hashtag Podcasthon20 so we can all see the ripple effect of this campaign. And finally, if you're new to Thrive Careers, stick around because every week we release episodes with practical strategies, real conversations, and tools to help you build a career that actually works for you. So subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and leave a review if this episode helped you. It really does help other people find the show. All right, friends, that's it for today. Thank you so much for being here and for hanging around with me. Thank you for caring about this work. And thank you to Dress for Success Canada Foundation for everything you do. Go and make your work easier. And remember, you don't have to do this alone.